Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the Universe of Chinese. And today it's actually more than one word a day because we already done today's regular one word a day. And this one is a viral new expression that just came out. And I just realized it because I saw it all over the social media this morning. And I think it will be fun to do something that's being so viral right now. Okay. The expression is called 指鼠为鸭,指鼠为鸭 is this four character formation that looks like a classical Chinese, right? But indeed, the structure of this 指 A 为 B, like pointing at something, but saying it's something else, came from another Chinese, time-honored Chinese expression that says 指鹿为马. So this is the original Chinese expression, 指鹿为马. Basically, somebody is bring a deer to the palace, asking people what that is, by first stating this is not a deer, this is a horse. Of course, the original words cannot say that. It's showing a horse, but stating it's, no, showing a deer, but stating it's a horse. That way, whoever concurs this person would be regarded as the same camp. The other ones who stay to what they see with their own eyes and saying differently than it's a horse statement become the enemy and eventually get rid of. So that's deer sayer versus horse sayer. Horse sayer, well, I just realized in English we have horse shit, right? So this expression existed for almost 2,000 years because it came from this 200 something BC when the first dynasty in China was first established, and then the first emperor who unified the land by winning wars. Basically, is the most successful and ambitious warlord, and succeeded in defeating everybody else. Picture Game of Thrones. It's only on a bigger scale. I mean, it's a realistic base, it's a history, but it's this one emperor or warlord win or beat the other 6 states. By that, unifying China, that big piece of agricultural land together, and start this emperor, this imperial era of China. So ever since that's the first dynasty in China, and then like 2,000 years of this dynasty of, every few hundred years of one dynasty. But this all-powerful, he's the guy, Qin Shi Huang, that had this underground tomb of thousands of Costa Rica, right? Costa Rica? Oh, I don't know how to pronounce that now. Tomb underground in his name to guard him underground in his, afterworld. So he's all that powerful, but his kingdom, his dynasty only lasted for 2 generations because of something happened. The succession was not successful because he wasn't appointing or set up the system correctly by having his appointed heir as somebody after him. Instead, the person who does this deer horse thing stepped in and seized the power, appointed somebody else. And that person came into power was this first emperor's servant, courtroom servant. And the servant basically control the access to the emperor, right? And this servant can kind of control what the emperor said and to communicate with the outside world. And that gives this person, this gatekeeper almost, immense power. And that person eventually brought in this deer to the court or to the palace to sort out the 2 camps in a courtroom, because somebody are supporting him, others are not, but afraid to say differently. So at least whoever have the guts to say differently, basically saying a deer is a deer, not a horse, that person regarded as a political enemy got wiped out eventually. So that's why this dynasty only lasted for 2 generations. So that's the origin of this structure, 指鹿为马. Now, in almost 2,000 years later, we have 指鼠为鸭. And this 指鼠为鸭 is again saying something that's mouse, but saying it's not a mouse, it's a duck. Okay, the story goes, in a cafeteria, a student found a mouse-looking thing in the soup. And so the student is asking the cafeteria manager, like, what that is, like, why there's such a thing in my soup. I want some, at least, compensation or acknowledgement that there was food contamination, if not poison, right, happening here. But then the cafeteria management refused to acknowledge that it is a mouse. Instead, they claim this is duck. So this would be probably a day-to-day happening of some, the food safety issue. But the thing's gone bad when some local food safety agency came in to validate that actually this is not a mouse, this is a duck. So that agency was standing on the wrong side, on the dark side. But the student had the power of social media behind him, beyond his knowledge, I guess. He probably, nobody can predict when things go viral. So he took a video of this, like before the whole thing, like become twisted plot. He took a video and people with eyes can see that's the head of the mouse with the teeth on it. It's obvious. And then this story gone viral, a lot of supporters and a lot of criticizers jump in to say how the government can do this. I mean, if it is just a school cafeteria, it's no big deal. But local government agency endorsed this wrong saying and almost like condole this wrongdoing. There was no apology, blah, 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 until the thing brewing for over 2 weeks. So the first happening finding of this mouse in the soup happened in June 1st, and then on June 17th, which is today, and which was yesterday in China back then, that the government on state level step in and form a kind of special task of 4 different groups of specialists came in to see if this is indeed a mouse or duck, and they confirm this is a mouse, not a duck. So from then on, it's like you already have a conclusion, you already have what you want, and so there we go. We stop the damage of the reputation for the government, because this whole thing behind it is questioning the credibility of the government, because on the next step is a local government agency endorsing that this is obviously not a mouse but a duck, but they are saying the wrong thing. Like, not saying the wrong thing, they're not saying the truth. They are on the wrong side. So this kind of reminds people of the happening 2,000 years ago when somebody pointed at a deer and saying that's a horse. And this time it's pointing at a mouse and saying this is a duck. It's totally different thing. So because it holds the same language structure, we have 指 A 为 B, like pointing at something, but then saying it's something else. It kind of resonate. It has some amazing linguistically and culturally poking at the sensitive nerves over there in China. So this is what's happening right now, and I want to share it with you today. And just quickly, 指 have this hand symbol because it means finger, and here means finger because the right side not only is a sound maker that sounds like a 指, that means tastes good because it came from this spoon and feeding the mouse. The below is a mouse symbol, the top is spoon symbol, and something holding in the mouth means it tastes so good you want to keep spooning in. So that is finger. The reason why finger, I'm guessing, is because probably at the very beginning, before the age of utensils, eating utensils, we have finger food all the time. So having fingers is important to feed yourself, basically. So fingers, when the hand symbol next to feeding yourself, hand feeding, that's the original combination to show its fingers. So 指 basically means fingers. And this finger came from this feeding. So finger fooding, I guess that's back then. And then 鼠 is just the visual representation of a mouse. It has the teeth. You can see only here the teeth, the little, I guess, the feet, and then the tail. So the main features of the mouse, of course, is not a complete picture or an accurate one, but you see it captured the main features of the mouse. And ya as well, you can see the right side is the bird symbol, and then the left is the sound maker, but it means 甲. I mean, it sounds like a 甲. Now it's a ya, and I guess it marks the bird. It's a seabird or water bird that doesn't really fly, even if it's a bird. It already adapted its life to the surface of waterways, and therefore here is a symbol to signify it is some special type of bird, which is a duck. Okay, then Wei have this plowing, so this hand is holding this plow thing, and this is probably a device. Ancient times when you plow, and here is the result of a plow. You can see the land already have this, the ridges on the farmland to get it ready for farming. So this farming activity eventually used as do something. And we can see in agrarian society, do something just mostly mean go farming. And this go farming, do something, eventually get an abstract use, become a representing of something, become like a connector word between A and B. So in this case, it's like a finger, right? Finger, we use finger to point. That's why we have this index, right? Index finger is the pointing finger. So point this mouse as a duck. So that's the latest story. And I think this probably is going to be incorporated into Chinese vocabulary. That's between 2023, something this ridiculous happened. And this drama of 17 days in the 1st of June is going to signify that's the classical, in English world, people call it gaslighting, and that's probably a good instance to show that gaslighting actually is universal. China have gaslighting too. So 指鼠为鸭 is one such gaslighting. And here I'm just showing a Peking duck because the reason why cafeteria manager would come up with the story of it's not a mouse, it's a duck, because duck is indeed in the Chinese cuisine, and a lot of times we eat duck neck, which includes its bones in it. And so probably that's visually close enough to come by to this, but of course, because it's a videotaped, so it's not let go. So this Peking duck, this is the most famous duck cuisine in China. And if you visit China, or even if you are in the US, you can give it a try. It's wrapped inside this almost like a Chinese burrito, but it tastes is very Chinese. It's typical Chinese food. Okay, here we go. 指鼠为鸭. Hashing to the currency of thinking by one word a day with Sophie. See you another day.